Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Patrick Tawia Matope, and on this channel, I do deliver content on social work, more especially practice with children and families, because that's what I do. And on this topic today, I'm just gonna talk to you about my own tips about concerning working from home. I'm delivering this because I think. The lines can easily be blurred in terms of when somebody is working from home. So these tips will also help those who are working from home. As you know, most local authorities are actually taking working from home as part of the package which they offer to workers when you start work, the ability to be working from home, flexible working, and all that. So you need to be mindful of that as well. It's for me. I think I look at it as a privilege because. In the olden days, just before COVID, remember we used to be going to the office 5 days a week, no questions asked about that. But at the moment, sometimes when you do interviews, workers will be asking you, "Oh, how many days can I work from home per week?" Because it's actually being encouraged by most local authorities, and if you look at it, also it helps in terms of your work-life balance. So it's a topic which is pertinent for us to be discussing or for us to be talking about as social workers, really. So these are just my tips of which will also help you to stay productive and to stay connected and be professionally grounded when you are working from home. Moving on to straight into the topic. So, working from home comes with its own unique opportunities, but also unique challenges. I'm saying unique opportunities and also unique challenges because there are things that you can actually do when you're working from home, which you can't do when you're working in the office. But there are also challenges of things that you can't do when working from home as opposed to what you can do when working in the office. For example, working from home, if you don't have a printer, you can't print. But working from home, you're able sometimes even to dash out, go downstairs, grab some food, or do whatever you need to do, or pick a child from school, whatever it is. But the bottom line is you need to be making sure that you've put in the hours that you need to be putting when it comes to working. If it's 7.2 hours, which is the normal standard time for all local authorities, then you need to be making sure that you've put the 7.2 hours. If you've put in extra, sometimes we always do put in extra hours because we need to get things done and all that. However, the other important thing that you also need to know is you also want to maintain your effectiveness when you are working from home in as much as you would maintain your effectiveness when you are working in the office. And you also need to remain a team player when you are working from home. So it doesn't necessarily stop because you're working from home, you stop to be a team player, you just disconnect from the rest of the team. It doesn't necessarily work like that. So the tips I'm going to give will help you to stay, not only to stay productive, but also to stay connected with your team and to be professionally grounded. So let's jump straight into it. Point number one. Let's talk about the structure your day should look like. The tip I'm going to give is to say you need to be structuring your day just like you would structure when you are in the office. You need to be maintaining the same routines that will support productivity and your well-being just as you would do when you're in the office. If you need to step out and go to the loo, you need to be doing that. If you need to step down, grab a cup of coffee, you need to be doing that. If you need to step out for a while and stretch your legs, go out, go around the block, you need to be doing that. So you need to be mindful about that because if you are doing it at the office, so you also need to think about doing it at home because sometimes because you're working from home, you can just remain rooted on your chair or seated on your chair for long hours. That's not good for your health. That's not good for your body. So you need to be thinking about that as well. You need to be setting your starting time and finishing time, and sometimes you need to be making sure that you stick to it. I know there could be a day or two in a week where you could go an hour later to make sure that you get everything done, but you need to be sticking onto your finishing times if you are working from home. Or you also need to think about using your calendar effectively because it's only through your calendar that your colleagues will be able to figure out or know exactly what you are doing at any given point. For example, you need to be blocking time for calls, visits, or report writing and taking breaks. If you're away, your calendar needs to show that you're away for an hour or you're away. Communicate with your team members. Let them know that you're going to be going for a GP appointment for an hour or you're going to be going down the street to grab a coffee with a friend. for 30 minutes because it's your break. You still have your 30 minutes, you still have your 1 hour lunch. So you're allowed to do that. But communication is key, because when people are looking for you, they shouldn't be guessing exactly where you are or what it is that you are doing. So you need to be making use of your calendar to make your availability and visible to your colleagues, and for them to be able to visualize what's going on as well. Point number 2, you need to be prioritizing communication and visibility. What do I mean by this? If you are using Teams, if you are using Google, remember the system tells what you are doing at any particular given time. But if your calendar is up to date, colleagues can actually know not to disturb you, may know when to call, for example, may know when to send you messages, for example. So out of sight shouldn't be out of mind with your team. Remember, even if you are working from home, you need to be mindful that you need to be contactable and all that. Because remember, if things kick off in your team, you need to be into action and go and get things done, and actually get things done. Because remember, working from home can't be an excuse for you not to be doing your visits, can't be an excuse for you not to be doing your review meetings because you're working from home. No, if it means you need to leave and go and do things that you need to do, you need to be doing that. You need to be checking in with your manager, checking with your team, quite often during the day, or even, in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, check in so that people know that you're okay and, things are going on okay with you. You also need to be active in your group chats, making sure that you're able to share information, because sometimes if somebody asks a question and you remain silent, people may not know exactly what's going on, and you might be the one who is holding that piece of information that is required for that piece of work to actually progress or go ahead. Virtual meetings, you need to be attending, and if possible, put your camera, because that's the only way people can tell how you are looking, how you are doing, and all that. Because remember, if it's virtual working, then sometimes people may not have a way of figuring out exactly your emotions or where you are emotionally and all that. So you need to be knowing about that. And it's about letting your team know when you're available and when you're not. Right, stay child focused or family focused. What do I mean by this? Remember, I spoke about the fact that working from home can't be an excuse for you to say, I can't do this visit because I'm working from home. Or when the manager asks, why was this visit not done? Oh, no, I couldn't do it on Monday because I was working from home. That's not an excuse. I'm sorry, that's not an excuse. I don't know if other managers would accept that, but working from home can't be an excuse. Even sometimes there are days when I'll be working from home, but I actually up and leave and go into the office because there are things that needs to be done, which needs my attention, for example. So you need to be mindful about that as well. And, working from home also, you need to be mindful that it shouldn't dilute the quality of work or the quality of direct work that you're going to have with the children and families that you're working with. You need to be planning your purposeful visits, making sure that your face-to-face visits are purposeful and they are done on time as and when required. And when you're working from home, for example, instead of making a phone call, why not do it as a video call and actually see the family, see them, talk to them. They can also see you, and you can actually maintain that engagement going on with you. You need to be keeping your case notes up to date, timely, and making sure that they're actually analytic and factual. And you also, understand, the interventions which are actually ongoing on all of your cases, really. And then moving on to the next point, which is maintaining professional boundaries. When working from home, remember, you still need to wake up, bath, look presentable, because you're going to be in meetings. So there's no point in you coming to a meeting in pajamas or coming to a meeting looking disheveled only because you're working from home. You still need to be professional. You still need to present, to look presentable as well. So the lines can easily be blurred, in terms of personal and professional life. So you need to be devoting some time, devote a corner in your house where you can put your desk, your equipment, and make sure that nobody disturbs you. Because sometimes when you're on a call with a parent or on a call with a child, and then one of family member walks past behind you, and then you're on the full view of the camera, that's not a good thing, because it gives that parents or that family that you're working with an impression that their story is out there, everybody else knows what's going on with their life. You don't want that kind of impression, because that can actually lead to a complaint being made about you. So if you know that your environment at home may not be conducive for you to be working from home, then stick to working in the office as much as possible, and only work from home, especially when family members are asleep or when they are not there, for example, if you know that you're going to get all those kind of disturbances. Because remember, it's a privilege for you to be working from home, but it's not a right. At the end of the day, you can't then call it's a right when you know that the environment that you're working with isn't the best for you to be working from home. You need to be designating a workspace so that you can actually go into that corner, work, and or if facing the other side, so that nobody walks behind you. For example, you need to be making sure that be inventive in the way you set up your desk, so that there's no those kind of disturbance can be in front of you but not behind you, because people who can be behind you can actually come through on the camera if you're on the camera, and you don't want that to be happening. Sometimes noises, sometimes sounds can also disturb you in meetings, and you also need to be avoiding using personal phones or emails to for work if possible, or mixing the two. You don't want that to be happening, because you end up even in a data breach situation, which is something that you don't want. And you also need to think about logging off at the end of the day, because you can't leave machine lying around or stuff lying around that you know that they may go into the wrong hands, or papers, clips, or whatever lying around. You need to be operating on a clean desk policy at the end of the day as well, to make sure that you are also maintaining confidentiality with the families and children that you're working with. And then let's talk about being a team player. I spoke about a little bit about this in previous parts of this video. Even at a distance, you still need to be a team player. You still need to work in a collaborative manner with the other multi-agent professionals and also with your team, and you need to be supportive by nature, because remember, if it's virtual and you're working from home, that actually calls for you to be collaborative, for you to be working with others well, because failure to do that, imagine if you are new to the team, everybody is working from home, you don't know anybody, and then all of a sudden you need to be doing this and this, but people are not even responding on the team's message, because that's the only platform you can ask for help and stuff like that. So you need to be a team player, be visible, be active, and to make sure that you're able to support others when required. You need to be offering peer support, like I said, and also share resources, good practice, ideas in team forums, and attend virtual meetings, fully camera on, where possible, so that people can actually pick your non-verbal cues and all that. Moving on to the next point on my tips is make the most of supervision and peer reflection. Make the most of supervision and peer reflection, because, it's still critical. Even if you're working from home, supervision is still required, even remotely, so you need to be making use of it, and you need to come prepared to that supervision as well, with updates, any challenges, and reflections that you have. You need to be using supervision to talk about the emotional impact work is having on you. If it's something that you think you need to be thinking about moving back into working to the office more as compared to working from home, make that call, make that decision, and you need to be moving on with that decision. You need to be open to feedback and be flexible in your practice as well. And if there are concerns about the practice, about your availability, then you need to be adhering to what your line manager and your supervisors are actually recommending for you to be doing. And you also need to look after yourself well. Drink lots of fluids, cups of coffee, cups of drinks. Coffee may not be good for you. Some people may argue, but have tea, have water. Take some fluids and make sure that you stay healthy, fruits and stuff like that, so that you stay rehydrated and actually energized to be able to work. It's an emotionally demanding role, so you need to be taking care of yourself as well. Even more so when you're working in isolation, you need to be scheduling breaks. I spoke about taking breaks already. Lunchtime, it's your lunchtime. Take the hour away, even if it means you go downstairs, watch a program for an hour, and then come back and continue. You need to be doing that. And your calendar should be showing that it's lunch hour. You are away from your desk, and people can actually not disturb you because you're away from your desk. Set personal well-being goals. Imagine going out for fresh air, stretching, journaling, whatever it is that you do to actually help your mind, put your mind at ease, and rejuvenate your mind. You need to be thinking about that. And if you know that stress is getting the better of you, then you need to be talking about this with your line manager and see better ways of how you can maneuver and help yourself out of that situation. You also need to think about keeping up with training and learning, because sometimes working from home, you may think professional development stops. No, it doesn't stop. You need to continue, because you are working from home. It doesn't necessarily mean that you can't develop yourself professionally. You need to be using time wisely, because you've saved time on commuting. You've saved time on commuting. You can actually use that time for CPD activities, so that you can refresh your mind, refresh your knowledge, your skills base, and all that. You also need to be attending online training and making sure that you fill up that void, fill up those gaps, fill up those gaps in your knowledge, so that you'll be able to optimize the time that you have as well. And in terms of daily check-ins, team meetings, WhatsApp, there are things that you can also utilize to make sure that you keep in check with your team. There are WhatsApp groups, team, via Teams, Teams chats, shared calendar for your availability, making sure that you are always available. So you need to think about all those things. With those few nuggets, I hope you've grasped something. If you have good comments, please put your comments in the comment section below. And, let's keep the conversation going and be kind with the comments as well. Thank you so much. If you are new to the channel, please do subscribe, share, hit the notification bell so that when I post, you'll be the first person to know. I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.